Guest tonight on the Sunday Night Alternative, and it is really quite an honor to have us with us. Have you ever with us by telephone is Laura Nyro. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Hi. It's nice to talk to you. We've met a few times backstage situations, but really haven't had the pleasure of talking to you on the air, and really appreciate it. We're talking because you're coming to Philadelphia a week from Tuesday, the 19th of December, at the Chestnut Cabaret. For 2 shows, and I was happy enough to see you the last couple of times you were here in Philadelphia. Now, you know, when you're an artist, I guess you're never really aware of all of your fans and all the people that are out there listening to you, but I've been listening to you since about 1966, when the first album came out, 66, 67, the album More Than a New Discovery. I was in college radio at the time, and got your first album, and it was amazing, and I thought maybe we could just talk a little bit about your early days and what led up to that first time. I have some bio information on you, and of course you may not remember all this, but according to the bios, you come from the Bronx. Your father was a jazz trumpeter. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, he did play the trumpet.
What was your life growing up? A lot of music in your house, and where did you get this whole concept of writing and performing?
Well, I seem to remember that there was just a lot of great music happening at the time. There was great music on the radio. There was a lot of jazz appreciation with street kids, which was really nice. John Coltrane and Miles Davis we listened to. And I consider myself really lucky that somehow I got introduced to that music, I guess when I was about 15, and so that was some of the music, and then just the street music, soul music, and I listened to all kinds, folk music. I just love music, and also my mother and grandfather were into opera, so we heard that too, and so that was to me it was just the real language of life, and I just that's what I heard as a kid. It just felt like a joyful communication.
Did you really start writing songs when you were 11?
No.
Oh.
I think you have the wrong bio.
No, it's on your first album. It
says that.
It really does. It says, as nearly as she can recall, she started trying to write songs about the age of 11. Okay, trying. And then rewriting some pop songs with racy lyrics. Laura, really. And then it says you when you were around 14, you sang with some Puerto Rican groups and subway stations and street corners, right?
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Okay. So, but you seem a little bit shy. I guess you'll admit to that, right?
Shy, and then sometimes the opposite of shy.
I see. So, but when did you get the idea that to do this for a living, to really devote your life into a career of music?
Well, I just was singing at a very young age. We would just always sing. Sometimes at parties, at home, go out on the streets, and kids were into harmonies, and so that was very natural. And then I just started to do some writing, and I wrote some on the guitar and keyboard, and so it just naturally started happening. And at a certain point, Peter, Paul, and Mary had heard one of my songs. This was later, when I was about 19 or something. And they heard And When I Die and recorded it. But I wasn't planning a big career. I was just loved music and was trying my hand at writing, and got into it more seriously, but not thinking about a career. Just kind of
What, did it become more the writing or the performing that was really your main, your number one interest?
Well, I would have to say writing and singing over performing, because I see singing as an art, and I do very much now. When years later, when I decided to start like putting music on the front burner, just really making it happen.
Yeah.
And just a much stronger commitment to music years later. I knew that more than anything I had to start singing again. I wanted to start singing again. And I don't like to repeat myself. I don't know, probably you don't know this. I've told a few people this when they ask, but quitting smoking put me more in touch with singing, and that, I had sung for years, and all growing up, I was into the art of singing, and just in a very natural way. And then quitting smoking put me very back in touch with it.
And when was this that you did this?
This was a few years ago. Well, a few years ago, I thought to myself, I have to sing, and I have to be singing again, and I have to make that commitment. And, because as you get older, and then if you have a family or whatever, you can kind of get drawn into this and that. And I realized that I had to be singing. So, and it's just recently, actually, that I put myself on a writing schedule. Where just like every day, I do writing, and I don't like sit around waiting for like a bolt of lightning to strike me, or great inspiration. I'm just working every day, and it seems to be somewhat inspired. So it's been very, very interesting.
Yeah, to go back to those early days just a minute, when you were very young, you were writing these songs. Did they come like songs like "And When I Die" and "Wedding Bell Blues"? And
yeah.
Did they come easily? Did you agonize over this? I mean, were you just kind of a kid fooling around to see what would come out? Or
Well, I think that the same thing that happened as a kid is the same thing that's happening right now. I think I'm going through the same process. I think I'm just tired of everyday life because it just doesn't say it. It doesn't do it. And I have to go to art. And I have to be involved with it, And sometimes I'll just be, sometimes only poetry can say it, I think that there's just, this deeper language, and a way of putting your world back together again, and breaking through barriers, because this everyday kind of, the way that we're socialized in the way that we speak and everything. It's after all, it just doesn't do it. The TV, it definitely doesn't do it.
Well, I guess the question you've been asked, and I should ask you, is you went through this series of incredible albums. You had incredible success with your songs covered by other artists as well, and then you sort of seem to just like stop. I mean, why? If you seem to want to go back to a private, everyday kind of life for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the last question.
Yeah.
Let's see. But was that kind of clear about the process of writing? That it's
an escape from the boredom of regular life.
It really enhances your life, and it makes your life feel just more real through through music, through writing. So I just wanted to see if you thought that I answered that question.
Oh yeah, I mean, That's a big question, is why does an artist create, I guess, right? You know, what motivates you to do it? I was just interested.
Okay, well, let me ask you, what motivates you to listen to music a lot and be involved with music? Okay, tell me it's the money, right?
Yeah, it's just the money, babe. What originally motivated me was probably the same thing. I'm not a creator of art, but I can appreciate art, and my interest in appreciating that art led me to want to share that with people on the radio. I remember I got started literally playing your first album on college radio and saying, this woman is incredible. I didn't care that the Fifth Dimension covered your songs. It meant nothing to me. I was interested in you and the way you created them and the way you sang them, you know. And I followed you right on into Eli and the 13th Confession and New York Tenderberry and then Christmas and the Beads of Sweat and so on, Gonna Take a Miracle. And I was just moved by your art. I didn't know you personally. I had no vested interest in you, but I felt that I should share this music with people on the radio. And you know, in a way, it kind of annoyed me that the Fifth Dimension had hits with your songs, because I felt that they, even though it was good for you, I guess, and you were making money and your songs were being heard by people, they were missing out on hearing the woman who created the songs perform the song. Mm-hmm. Did you ever feel that way, or what was it like?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't, because to me, like the Fifth Dimension were like an ice cream soda. You know what I mean? They were just like, it was sweet pop,
mm-hmm.
and I thought that they brought good vibes to my music. So I just, you know, I had a nice feeling about them. I think that.
It didn't bother you that you were not being heard singing them?
Well, that didn't have anything to do, let's say, for me with, let's say, the Fifth Dimension,
mm-hmm.
because the experience I have is usually, okay, most of the time when somebody records one of my songs, it's kind of a nice thing for a writer.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You know.
Sure.
And you know, they have their own interpretation. So I don't know. I think now I'm trying to, you know, bring things to a place where, you know, I have, you know, a good connection with my audience.
Do you want to address the question of where you went? I mean, you just kind of stopped and disappeared for a while, and you did put out an album every few years, I know,
yeah.
Smile and Mother Spiritual when you came back, and a live album and so on. But
right.
Pretty much, you know, you weren't as visible and you weren't as productive as I guess you had been earlier in terms of quantity. I mean, I think you made a big deal for your publishing. As I recall reading the trades, I mean, the fact that these songs were so popular got you a lot of money for your publishing for your songs, you know, your writing. Did that have something to do with you just deciding to cool out as an artist for a while? What really happened?
No, that wouldn't be it. I think that there's a lot of people, probably that we both know, who, you know, life brings changes. Like sometimes a person will be in one business and then go into another.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the different sides of life. And then also, if once you have a child, once you're, you know, become a mother,
mm-hmm.
that has a profound influence on your life, because, you know, you could be busy there 24 hours a day. It's very different than when you're, you know, freewheeling.
Right.
So I would say that was one of the strongest influences. And I think also, you know, I just wasn't that drawn to the music business at the time, okay, and everything that meant, and all the involvements. I think that I wanted to be with nature and have this different side of my life. But I did continue writing, and I just did it really low key, and I didn't have, management. I didn't have, these organizations that all these people that you see out there, they have.
Yeah.
So I was very low key. I was just kind of like a mom, in the woods with this baby, and just a softer kind of lifestyle, just kind of different that I needed to go through. But
did fans ever notice you or find you and just say, just remind you of your career, remind you of what you had meant to them along the way? I mean,
well, I'll tell you, when I went out and started singing again, it kind of surprised me, because getting ready to sing, I had to. I just was getting real serious about the music again and focusing on what it would take, and getting myself just completely at one with the music, and going out with a band, singing live, the whole thing. So that's what I was into, my side of things. And I was kind of, it took me a little by surprise, just a little bit, that people,
remember.
People were just kind of, were constantly saying certain things to me, and telling me not to go away.
Right.
So, enough of them said it, so I've decided not to, Ed.
No, that's great. We're glad to have you back. Let me just ask you a little bit about a couple of albums in particular. The Eli and the 13th Confession album, which I guess by virtue of the songs and the time and the amount of airplay it got, and the fact that so many people bought it and have it and listened to it, is kind of considered perhaps your quintessential statement. I don't know if you see it that way. I mean, did it mean something particular to you at the time more than the others, or it just was our timing in listening to it? Seems a very personal album. I don't know.
I don't know if it meant more to me, or the most to me, that particular one. The one that means the most to me is the one that I just worked on, and that I...
okay.
That's the one that does mean the most to me, and I'll tell you why.
This is the live album, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel that it draws from... It tells you where I'm coming from right now as a writer, what's on my mind, and it draws from way back to when I was a teenager, and so it's got a lifeline, and I feel that it represents my lifeline or something as an artist. And I also feel that it's very, it's just, there's no frills. That's me, not in the studio,
right. Right.
but just live, just as it was happening. And so, I would say that would be my favorite one.
Another album I was going to ask you about was the Gonna Take a Miracle, which you did in Philadelphia, as I recall.
Yeah.
With Gamble and Huff producing and LaBelle backing you up, which was really kind of interesting at the time. I guess because you were kind of the high priestess of hip, and LaBelle really weren't considered hip in the sense of FM, you know what I mean, radio.
Yeah.
So you were bringing together your world along with what I see as the world of black pop music that you, in fact, revered growing up.
Yeah, right. The song, I Sold My Heart to the Junk Man, and all this stuff.
Although you didn't do that on
by
there.
By Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. I
Right.
just remembered it when I don't know, when I was 13 or something. Those are some of the songs that we used to love to listen to.
Right.
And so then when I was when I wanted to sing some of my favorite R&B songs, I met the group, and I just, I really wanted to sing with them, work with them.
So it was a good experience? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right, we'll Move into the present. Of course, you have the new album, Laura Nyro Live at the Bottom Line, which came out on Cypress.
Mm-hmm.
And you working on some newer things yet for another album, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I'm writing. I've been writing.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just kind of nice that's alive, the writing aspect.
Mm-hmm. Was it a little bit scary to come back?
Yeah, it was a little bit scary because you're living out your essence rather than and you're willing to go on an adventure that's meaningful to you rather than go for what is very familiar and what is secure. Let's say just in your everyday home life. Or something. And it's great. I recommend it. I love it, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun being on the road.
Well, we'll see you again on the road. It's a week from Tuesday the 19th. There'll be 2 shows at the Chestnut Cabaret, and I can personally recommend it because I loved you. Jimmy Vivino with you again and the band and all?
Yes.
Great. It's a great band, and you get a real survey of Laura's career. In a way, you've been able to kind of step away from your career and then come back to it and look at it a little more objectively than perhaps many artists get to do.
Yeah, that's true, and I have a lot of good energy now.
That's great. And especially since you stopped smoking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Laura Nyro, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and I hope it wasn't too painful.
Thanks, Ed.
And we'll see you on Tuesday the 19th at the Chestnut Cabaret. Thanks again.
Okay.